one. Don't know if the
maybe because we moved the meeting and maybe it updated, so I'm not sure.
okay.
Sometimes it happens. How have you been?
I've been okay. I was doing a half Ironman and I broke my clavicula, so
Did you
got some,
fall?
some. Yes, I fell like a pothole or kind of a fault in the asphalt. I'm also I cannot do this. I'm a bit bruised
Which
here.
part? Did you run the marathon? Was it when you ran the marathon?
No, it was cycling. As a
Oh,
Swiss, you might identify. It was, I think, over 38 miles an hour. It was 65 kilometers per hour. Then just felt like an impact on my front wheel. It cracked. There's like a 3 inch like crack in the wheel. It got like a rock, something, and I was just launched.
damn. And
Yeah.
I'm sure you trained super hard for it too. That is, oh, I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Like I
You did
went
it.
then I
You did
went
it.
to Sao Paulo. Yeah, no, I normally I race a lot in I this year I had 4 half Ironmans, Boston Marathon that I have to pull the plug. I won't be able to do it, and one full Ironman. So the first half came to an end. Now recover. But in June, start training for the second half of the year. See how that goes. I'm now getting better, and
You still want
then
to do it. You still want to do it.
yeah, yeah. As soon as I get cleared, the my doctor has already cleared me to do turbo training. So on the stationary bike.
Cool.
But my team said no, wait until Monday, 1 week, just so you only have
Yeah.
it only glues once your clavicular bone. So wait for it to glue because if it like
No, no.
calcifies back,
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely.
exactly. Then
So
you can have like a fibrosis
yeah,
and
you
then
don't want that. And then you also, fibrosis, you can get all kinds of things. And also when you're older, and believe me, you're gonna get older, um, uh, that's when you pay. So just, let it heal. Let it heal. It's a good thing. Yeah.
yeah, like chronic pain, and so
You don't want
I'm
that.
slow and steady until it gets better. But and everything that happened, I literally crashed in my bike over 60 kilometers per hour,
So
and
lucky. You're so
I'm here.
lucky.
Yeah, I was
So lucky.
yeah.
Seriously. I mean, I never did an Ironman. I did a few marathons in my life, but I didn't do an Iron. I'm a runner, so I like that. But I have a lot of respect for bikes. I was never good on bikes. You will appreciate that. When I was a kid, they do a test, right? They do a test if you can ride a bike. I failed the test 3 times.
Hmm.
I was like 10 years old. I couldn't. So I did learn how to ride a bike eventually, but I'm not good on bikes. Not good.
I think each one their own hobby, what they like, and if
Yes.
you find something that you like, then
But you're training a lot, Fernando. I mean, you're training a lot. How much do you train a week?
I train average like 15 hours.
Hmm, that
I
is
train, I
that's a
train
lot.
a good hour and a bit in the morning.
Mhm.
Uh, in lunch, I skip lunch. I do swimming with my team, and then I eat kind of lunch in my desk when I'm back. Like I have our cooks ready-made meal for me every day. So I'm always eating as well healthy, like rice, beans, fish, chicken,
Fabulous.
some legumes, and a salad. That's what I eat every day for lunch. But I eat it in my desk. I don't only if there's like business lunch or something like that I jump. But then swim every day in the middle of the day with my team. I'm in like one of the best amateur Brazilian teams in triathlon, and then in the evening, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I run with the team, and Tuesday, Thursday, nothing, and then weekends, Saturday, 3 hours, Sunday, 4 hours between cycle, run, swim.
Wow.
So quite intense. The
Is
the average 15 hours top peak like when I
when
get
you're like, yes,
everything. I've managed to do like 23, 24 hours in a week, which
that's
is
hard, right? Because in parallel with work, that's crazy. That's crazy much. You have a family, if I may ask,
I have a wife.
but no
We
kids yet.
no kids yet. We're on the process of having and all the things, studying, doing a lot of different things. How about yourself? Do you have kids?
I have one child. He's 16. It's a boy, and I've had him very late. I was almost 40 when I had him.
Okay.
Because I was always very career focused, or not career focused, but I kind of it didn't fall into place beforehand. And it's good. I have one child, and frankly, it was good. It was late, and one child is good for me. It's perfect. I'm not together with a father because he decided to separate when I was pregnant, so that was not a very nice story. But that's a story for another day. Um, but I was very lucky, so I have a great child, and it's good. It's good. It takes time, though, Fernando. It will take time. It will
Definitely. If you see like my family were Lebanese descendant.
Yes.
So my father is one of four. He has three. His brother has three. His sister has four. His other sister has three. And then a lot of my cousins have three. My sister has two now, two children. My brother is in his first. And then my wife, she's one of five. And then
So
her
you're looking
mother,
at three, probably, right? A good average.
yeah, two to three will be the number. We'll see how life, what life has for us.
Yes, absolutely.
My wife, she is one of five. Her mom is one of nine. Then
Wow.
her father is one of four, and his brothers has, so her first degree cousin have seven. Another, so her family is like 300 large. My family is like 100 large. Her family is like 300 large.
Can you imagine? Yep. Okay. There's quite a plan in place. So that's
I
going to
think
give
it's
you a
the
very
difference between developing countries and developed countries. Like until my grandfather was kind of in his late 80s, it was unheard of missing Sunday lunch. Sunday lunch is like family and like
yeah, we had that though too in my family. We had that though too. As long as my grandparents lived, there was always Sunday lunch. I know. Sunday lunch or Sunday coffee and cake. One of the two.
exactly in Lebanese food,
Right.
family, everything. Like just talk to the cousins and kind of because it's a community, right?
Yes, it
It's
is.
all about, and I feel every time I think already into the AI chat, I think every time like generations are progressing, they're becoming lonelier and like
True.
smaller, and
Yes.
you can see already this through the birth rates of developed
All
countries
developed countries. Western world is crazy. I mean, there's people don't get children anymore.
because they are there is like there is the dichotomy: be intelligent or be happy. What do you prefer?
Well, I like the combination of two, right? Of the both things.
But if, as more you understand and you have more kind of anxieties, the
Yeah,
less you are willing to like
go
take
for it.
take like the Muslim community. They're having children. They're not worried if the children are going to be in the best education. They're
That
not
isn't
worried
that
if
the truth? Absolutely. You're totally right. Yeah, they're not worried. But I tell you, I had this one child. So okay, I had a bit of a story, but I lost twins before my child, so it was hard. And then when I had my child, I kind of went, wow. I mean, there's so many things that can go wrong. Like the awareness when you have a child. The process alone is amazing, right? But then also when you have the child, it's like you get this, as you said, you get this anxiety and what's going to go and how is it going to grow up, and it's very true what you're saying. So I was never one of those, not, I mean, I'm not a worried mother, still I'm not. I'm pretty relaxed, but it's a lot of responsibility. I take that responsibility very seriously.
no, definitely.
That's something which is actually, I wouldn't, responsibility always comes with this obligation. It's not. It comes from a good place. It comes from love. And that's different. So it's not a responsibility. It's frankly something and you will see that it just comes from within you, especially when you come from a family like you describe it. So you have a lot of family, community and connection, which is beautiful. It's cool. Perfect. Yeah, I was thinking about you actually because I was invited at a panel, a discussion at a big conference which is called Anti. I don't know if you have ever heard it. It's a huge conference in London every year, and it's where lots of so that's animal health, right? And what I'm observing is there's a convergence between animal health and pet care at the moment. And there were some really interesting companies, among others, also Brazilian, a really cool Brazilian guy. They're doing it's a startup doing something for the farm and feed community in Brazil, really exciting. But I have 2 or 3 things which I found really interesting for you. I'll share that with you on another note. Are you at
Please.
Global?
No, I'm at our facility.
But will you be at Global? Will you be at Global Pet?
Yes, I will be at Global. I fly out on Monday.
I'll prepare. It's you and I have somebody else I know where I got some really interesting input. And that was because you're serving a lot of veterinarians, aren't you, in Brazil?
In Brazil, yes. We serve a lot of vets. We'd like
so
this
you have probably a great opportunity because if you can go, I'm not suggesting, but if you can merge or think about merging more into the animal health space as well for your company, that would be really cool.
Yeah, I think on our side, we focus on small animals. Brazil has a big community of
I understand. I understand, but I saw a lot of small animal things too in Brazil and in South America. So that would be interesting, no?
Yeah, we saw some trends of like the pharmaceuticals, the vet companies, they're purchasing snacks because for example, the pharmaceuticals are very expensive category. So and not recurring like this the fleas once a year, the vaccination, but it's very margin healthy. So they are now doing like some treats such that it's diluting their logistics cost.
Of
so
course.
They can go more to now they are taking like the little jerky and the medication such that they can optimize more times. Yeah, because it was even though it was a healthy margin, the fact that they like the shop only placed like one order every 60 days for like 2 items, the freight was overwhelming expensive. So they,
in relation to the value of the shipment, of course. Yes, of course. Yeah, so they're optimizing their value chain.
Exactly. In Brazil, we're seeing a bit of this because like we in our country at the moment is a left-wing government, has been in place nearly 25 years. Besides 6, there was an impeachment 2, and then there was a right-wing president 4. So 6 in total was or center or right. The rest is all left. And basically our debt to GDP has gone from like 50 to like 80, 85. For a developing country, it's where a non-stable coin is very hard because then each day you can lose 20% of the dollar, don't have any kind of parity, you're very kind of exposed. We have reserves, at least Brazil has some over $300 billion in reserves if there is kind of a panics. But it can hold, but not much. But the left wing is just like, today Brazil has over 60 million people in welfare. 60 million. This is more than like a sum of France.
That is crazy.
Just in welfare.
That is crazy. I haven't realized that.
It's because of the 25 years of left. They just keep on doing welfare programs.
We know, right? If you look at Europe and the socialist countries, terrible, terrible, terrible. It's not getting anywhere.
Like if you're Norway and you have 5 million people in total and you have oil enough to that you purchase 2% of the S&P, then okay, you can be socialist. But if you're Brazil, 205 million people, You cannot be. You need to be smart.
Yeah, you need to ensure that people work. I was with a huge German tax office yesterday. I had a meeting with them, and they said they're at this in Germany. They're at this place where they have people signing a contract, a work contract, and they don't show up. Fernando, they do not show up for work. Can you imagine? It's easier to
I
sit on
think
the
this comes really to the underlying of the conversation of not only AI, but technology itself,
Yes,
how
exactly.
people are becoming more introverted and people are becoming more kind of uh, they need
Hermits.
and they need everything now. They're
Yes,
becoming I don't know what's the word in English, but like they need the everything now. They want like they
impatient.
see fame,
They're impatient. They're impatient.
impatient, like they need fame. They see like the little buddy that is an influencer posting about him at the beach, and they already want to be at the beach. Then they see the other buddy posting that they are doing an Ironman, and they already want the Ironman. Then they see the marathon. They don't see the 10
Work.
years I took to
They don't
prepare
see your
for.
15 hours of training every week. They don't.
Yeah, exactly.
Or they don't see, I have a lot of conversations like that. Also, I had a conversation with another parent, and she goes, "Oh, you're running your company since 2004. You're so lucky." I said, "It's not luck. I mean, it's like hard work." And it goes, every entrepreneur who tells you it's going up, 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 that's bullshit. Because it goes in those waves, and it keeps going in those waves. You have to be
But
able.
you only see the up, right, in social media.
People see the ups, or they go, "Oh my God, Peggy," and they meet me and they go, "Oh yeah, now you're in London and tomorrow you're like in Florida." And I'm going, "Yeah, but like, it comes with a cost. It's not, people see what they want to see. People see what they want to see, and they kind of go, "Oh, it's super easy." So, Fernando, thank you for making the time. This is great. I would actually like to do some stuff with your company because, again, I think you have a region which is really interesting. South America is really picking up. There's two regions actually picking up. One is really difficult. India is going to be super interesting, frankly. I'm kind of observing really closely. I'm observing the Indian market because there's lots of awakening. Very difficult though in terms of culture, language, not so easy. But South America is still, I think, especially Brazil is, I think, one of those super big target markets. So you're very lucky. That's your core market. How are you doing in the US at the moment?
US, we're growing. We're a growing portfolio. We're gonna launch a premium brand underneath our super premium brand.
Cool.
So I'm laying the groundwork for success. We're gonna do a package change, which I'm just gonna announce at global. So first we went with our scientific positioning, and as a like a direct competitor of Royal Canine, we are in Brazil with our premier
Yes.
brand. And then over the 18 first months, I understood that they had like it's a kind of a lobbied kind of target. It's going to be very hard to outside science diet, and I think
Yeah.
that's when
They had a huge growth spurt too. Did you read? They grew 60% last year. Not only in the US. Yeah. I have to find the article for you. It's amazing. I don't know why, because the recipe I personally, don't forgive me, is not really great. I mean, it has a lot of corn and they have never changed it.
So in our we at least we have some kind of adaptation. So our super premium line does not have corn anymore. However, we are more of a scientific
Yeah.
formulation. So in our language, byproduct is a good ingredient. Is not like I think
Yeah.
the US is
I know.
there's the marketing and there's the reality, and I think sometimes
Yeah.
it's disconnected.
Yes.
For example, we see that there is some kind of the limitations on the raw feeding. There's like biohazards there for us to go into like these trends. So we always we see that fresh is growing.
Yes,
We like it.
massively.
We have wet fresh food retort, kind of like health extension.
Yeah.
It's a bit expensive for the Brazilian consumer. We're looking into a technology to make it a bit cheaper, more kind of on a canned line, and then I'll have that technology I'm in the cusp of investing on a can line, and
I like that because the US has, I've always found their weakness was can. Their weakness is wet. And I think the massive trend you see on fresh now is partially related to the fact that the wet product in the US was always inferior, for example, to Europe. I don't know about Brazil, but Europe always had amazing fresh, I mean, amazing, but like pretty good fresh food, I mean, canned food. Whereas the US is just starting to awaken to the idea of wet food in a serious, way.
exactly. So that's what we're looking. Um, we still think that like my main difficulty is that my competitor sells 15 kilos for 99 reais, which is around just under $20. So the 15-kilo bag, that's my who I'm losing, because we are in a economy that has 15% the government interest rate. Imagine if the government interest rate is 15% and the inflation is 4.
Yeah.
My real gain on buying government bonds as a investor is 11% real gain. So what is my incentive? Like if I'm our and we are well capitalized, we don't have any debt, so we managed to actually be good in this. Like we are
You're in
actually
a good
being,
place. You're in a good
but
place.
there's no incentive to invest. Like each dollar I invest, I need to return more than 15%, such that it would be willing my risk. My risk needs to be my return needs to be over 15%, such that it's more viable to invest than just to leave in the government giving me 15% a year.
Jesus. So different, right? So different to the rest of the world.
That's
Crazy.
why Brazil is hard. You get the macro trends, the troughs and peaks are very like in the US, UK, you had a zero core quantitative easing since 2008,
Yes.
and then you went to 4%,
And
and
people
then
already freaked.
4%.
Yeah, every people are already. Yeah, exactly. So true.
In Brazil, and now it's already the private credit. I don't know if you're reading in all these like withdrawals that the private credit market is
Yes.
kind of in a small crisis in the
Yes,
US.
it is. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Not an easy one. So coming to your basically, because what I put up together was basically a conversation around AI. And if you're already using AI in your company, and is that already integrated? How do you see it? But first, I would like to ask you one thing. When you started this company, and I think it's the third generation, is it?
I'm second.
Oh, yeah, the second generation. So second generation. So why did you found that company? Was that based on a pet or was that a business thing?
Basically, we are in the wood panel industry.
Yes.
So we are in forestry, we are in furniture, we are in civil construction.
Yes.
With when we talk about eucalyptus. So we are a big company in Brazil, over 70 years. I'm fourth generation in that company. And my father, when he was kind of 18 years old, my grandfather gave him a farm to take care of. So he
Yes.
was like, take care of this farm, you'll learn. And then he did cattle, then he did the soy, then he started growing poultry.
Mm-hmm.
And in the early 90s, there was a big crisis in South Korea, and that shook the commodities, not only South Korea, Southeast Asia, called the Tiger Crisis.
Yeah. Okay.
And that shook commodity prices, and we were in poultry.
Mm-hmm.
And during this time, my father was also in NYU doing an industrial engineering course. He's an engineering. He's doing a follow through course in industrial practices in New York to see what's new.
Yes.
And he was seeing the rise of pet food manufacturing with IAMS.
Ah.
So
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
so back in the 90s, there was no domestic production
Cool.
that was premium. Everything was imported.
Okay.
We're talking about ProPlan arriving,
Yes.
Royal Canine arriving,
Mhm.
all in hard currencies.
Yes.
And so we wanted to first represent a US company in Brazil, but then they didn't think it was the right time. They didn't want to leave the US. They didn't know who were the
Yeah.
Brazilians. And
Yeah.
then we launched Premier, which was the first super premium Brazilian brand. And in the in the late 90s, where we were already kind of selling a bit, there was a huge currency deflation. And from the night to day, the imported products kind of tripled in price. So
Mm.
we were the only
Really, yeah,
super
you really
premium
leveraged. Very nice.
because of developing countries and
Yeah.
stable coin, imported products, and then suddenly the price for every good player besides ourselves doubled. So we were like, okay. And then our sales started just really taking off from there onwards.
Very cool. Very cool. So when you kind of project a bit what's happening now, so if you look at AI, right? Do you think that will drive the next growth spurt?
In pet,
Mm-hmm.
I think there is going to be kind of adjacent companies that will be plugged in. I think that, for example, optimizing formulas, optimizing studies, helping researchers kind of see statistics and draw. I think this will shorten the gap, so things will be quicker. I think as well that it can lead to some breakthroughs, but I don't
Like what?
think
Like what, Fernando? If you say breakthroughs, what do you think?
most likely in the research space, kind of this shortened gap, like university studies. We sponsor over 50 universities, 50, and all these universities are using different AIs, mainly the generative AI. It could
Yes.
be a ChatGPT or equivalent, and
Yeah.
they're all optimizing these engines and compiling data. I think things will be quicker. Like um, we are very big in prescription diets. We're launching more prescription diets. We're seeing a lot of prescription diets that are required.
Yes.
We're seeing now multi-use prescription diets, like not only a hypoallergenic, but a hypoallergenic with a gut health. So we're getting pets that are living more, and pets who live more need different health needs, and they might not need one health need. So if you have like a renal diet, but if
Yes.
the pet needs a renal diet and is obese, then what you do? Do you prefer the renal or do you prefer the obese? If
True.
it's an old pet, then you use the renal or use the a senior. So you're getting health, you're getting plural complexities in healthcare, and I think this is where the big players are really pushing the big dollars.
Agreed. Now, if you look at AI, do you think the consumer, because the consumer has a dog which has a problem with his kidneys and is obese, what's the consumer doing at the moment? I personally think they're going to ask ChatGPT, right?
Correct.
How do you think we should manage as an industry that the consumer gets the right answers?
I honestly think that it's some very big ponderations because, for example, doctors, healthcare, like you
Yes.
put, what is the best endocrinologist in Brazil? And then AI will search the web. We'll see like Instagram, like this endocrinologist is 100,000 people love him. He's gonna put this person as the best, but it's not
Exactly.
relevant. It's because the there is an asymmetry in the market. The AI cannot understand what is that when we talk about kind of services, human services, it does not understand what is a good service from a bad service because it can only read, it cannot experience, right? It can only
Very
interpret.
true. There's no feeling there. Yes.
No,
Yes.
as such that like also you don't know exactly the diagnosis of the pet, because to be diagnosed the pet you need an evaluation, and AI at the moment you can do like some kind of evaluation, but it doesn't do a whole evaluation. I don't know, you cannot send the film of your pet,
Yes,
put them
yes,
in chat and say, give me the valuation of, it doesn't do run labs. And I think maybe in the future, you could have a integrative care that runs on AI, and then that could give you, but I feel that there is as well, like user inputted content can the prompt, because AI only works on prompts. You need to give it the right prompt so it can give you the right answer. If you do the wrong prompt, it will give you the wrong answer.
very much so. I mean, as I told you, I was at this panel in London, and what I think is also happening, though, that the role of the veterinarian has to change a bit. Now, you have a lot of access to the veterinarian because you are providing a lot of food to the veterinarians, right? So, how do you think AI will change the relationship between the vet and the consumer? Because in my theory is that, like in human health, the customer now comes and says, "Oh, my dog has X, Y, and Z," and I asked AI, and these are the 5 things which it could suffer from. How do you think AI will change the vet's job, actually?
So I think that it will help guide. For example, we have a vet tool, which is the second most used vet tool in Brazil, which we integrated already an AI bot, and it gives all the instructions on our portfolio, and we're shooting for 500,000 prescriptions this year on our tool being issued inside the tool. So they're using the
Tell me
tool.
about this. Tell me about this. What does that mean? Prescriptions for food, prescriptions for supplements, for what exactly?
Yeah, so basically the patient goes to the vet opens a contact information
Yes.
for the patient. This is all done in our tool, and then by the end he issues a prescription for the needs. If it's like this food, this amount, this weight, this other, and
Wow.
that's all done in a proprietary tool that we have called Premier Vet. So that's just where last year we broke 280,000 prescriptions.
Nice.
This year we want 500,000.
And are you also, is that just concerning food, or is that also concerning supplements? Are you integrating any other product, or is it really just aligned with your food line?
At the moment, just with our food line, they can free write on the prescription, but with our food line, they have more resources to understand what is the sizes of the SKUs, what is the weight composition. With We are integrated with our catalog. With others, we are not integrated, so they can still free write and put all the
Yeah.
metrics, but
Yes.
we don't really integrate with the other players as kind of back end. So we don't really they cannot use our chatbot to understand what the symparic composition is, or what is the adversities, and what are, if
Yeah.
we.
So it basically runs parallel with their PIMS system, right? With their practice management system.
Yes.
Okay. So they're using both systems, so to say.
No, it's actually
Does
their
it-
practice. It's their practice management system.
All right. Okay. Okay. So it's their practice management system, and you have an integrated module.
Well, I am their practice system.
Ah, there you go. You're their practice management system. So you basically developed the PIMS for them, which is based on your category you're providing to them.
Yes.
Very exciting. That's very exciting. Cool. So, do you do physical visits to the veterinarians, or do you do a lot of non-physical?
Yeah, no, our team does. They do. We have I think over 250 veterinarians just on the team. 250 is our whole veterinarian kind of. Yeah, yeah. We have 250 vets, and they are spread through Brazil. and they have all the visits. We do face-to-face visits.
Right. Interesting. Cool. So you okay, so the veterinarian, and they're open for your visits, right? So there's no problem on getting the times, the appointments, because that I see in the Western world is a lot of problem here, because veterinarians basically say no more no more visits of reps because we don't have the time.
I think it depends what company you are. I'm sure it's all about incentives.
Yeah.
If they
The
have the
value you
incentive, they
provide.
will make the time. I
Yes.
think the company that they say that they don't want rep visits is that they don't want to see that company because maybe or their product is not interesting or they already know what is and there is a necessary. So I think it's more about like if the veterinary is incentivized to see the rep of the company, he will make time.
Yes, that's true. So basically what you're saying is the value you provide.
Exactly, the value you provide. If the veterinarian doesn't want to see you, is because you're not providing the value.
Absolutely. Like in the real world, right? We know that. If we
Of
don't
course,
provide the value, we are not paid. That's how it goes. Yes,
exactly.
exactly. So tell me, how are you training those salespeople? Are you using AI tools for training your people?
We integrate Salesforce, so Salesforce already
Mhm.
has a lot of AI,
Yes.
and we have a CRM management system to put these everyone in connect communication loops. So every email that we get, they already go into a loop that we are understanding where they are. If they open the email, if they open the newsletter, if they open, so we know exactly
Very
how
close to, yeah, very close to your customer. Great.
close to the customer, how integrated they are with our system. Then we have incentive programs
Mm-hmm.
that the more they are with their brand, they can swap for prizes, being money, being electronics, being trips, kind of a
Vertically integrated into, okay. So when you launch a new product, Fernando, and your rep now introduces that product, etc., how do you make sure that the veterinarian displays as a trusted product? So what I mean by that is, in my opinion, a veterinarian is very much dependent on workflow, right? They have their workflows and they're typically very much, like every human. We're in our comfort zone, right? Because we know this is our workflow. So if you bring a new product to market, how do you make sure that this new product is going to be integrated into a workflow of a veterinarian?
it's hard. It's you need I was doing a small kind of analysis in of marketing. I really like marketing communication,
Me too.
and I when I fell and I broke my clavicula, everyone was curious to know why, how am I, what happened. So I
Mm.
think that this kind of had me think for you to successfully do something, you need to create the curiosity in your stakeholder. If they are curious, they will go. If you just try to push
Mhm.
the communication down their throat, it's not going to happen. You need to create the curiosity, so they need to do the work to be successful. So I think that's the way that you successfully have something happen. Like why ChatGPT became so big so quick, and how did the other tech companies didn't control it?
Yeah.
Because the whole stakeholder was curious to see it, not the opposite.
Absolutely. 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 Totally with you. Yeah. Curiosity is a good thing. And what you're actually telling me is this traction. So I just spoke about that. The traction of your brand sits with you, correct? You would agree, because you are the guys who own the brand. So you have to make sure to get the traction, correct?
Yes,
Are you working through distributors too?
we have distributors, yes, but the distribution is a bit different in Brazil than other places. Like our distributors are not multi-brand. I
Sorry, Fernando, we got interrupted. Don't know what happened.
No problem. Our distributors are not multi-brand. They are single brand, single pet food brand. So
Mhm.
they can have other categories like medication, like
Ah,
pads. But we do not allow uh, plural food distribution.
okay, good. So, but you would agree, what role do they play in terms of demand? Do they have, are they responsible for part of the demand creation, or do you say these are purely logistical partners?
No, they have some relationship. They want to be more of a partner, but they normally solve for a smaller player that we might not have the right serve. Like might be too small for us to really give the attention needed, and and then the distributor goes. It's for kind of more smaller players, kind of. Boutique, not because boutique wouldn't implement high prices in Brazil. It's like smaller players are also worse portfolios.
Got it. Yes, got it. Got it. Okay. Now, if you look at the AI world, so how do you think AI will influence the relationship between a consumer and its pet? Is it going to is that going to make our pet ownership a stronger lever, or is that something you would say maybe people get even more addicted to their phones and their computers and AI?
I think both would be correct. I think technology makes people more introverted. Introverted people are less willing to socialize. People who are less willing to socialize want to stay at home more. And staying at home, they want to feel affection. They don't want to get exposed, so they get a pet, smaller pets.
Yes.
Before bigger pets, the guard of the house. Now smaller pets, mainly small dogs and cats. And maybe if they have one cat, then they want a second cat to play with the cat, and then they have two, then they have three cats, and then you see the cat boom in a very strong. Um,
Yes. Yes. Very cool, Fernando. You're totally aligned with me. My theory is that AI actually drives pet ownership. I think our category might be one of the even strongest economies of the future, because while people get more lonely, they're going to look for more real connection, and the connection, because they don't go out of the house, or they go out of the house much less, they will rely on the pet to bring that connection.
I agree 100%. I think the total pounds on on the market is getting to a cusp. So don't think that there is going to be more pounds in the future.
More
Uh,
kibble counts. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, I think the
Yeah.
pets are getting smaller.
Yes, I would
And
agree.
more.
What does that mean for the kibble business, do you think?
The price is going up. Like our better margin kibbles are going up. Our worst margin kibbles are just flat or just kind of trade down. You know, the if the product is hard to make, we are in a blue ocean. If the product is easy to make, then we are in a commodity market. So
I
that
agree. Yes.
like that's why the plural prescription diets is something where if the brand has the
Thanks.
channel
Yes,
to
and the channel.
sell, like we have in our cat diets, we have 0 to 6 months, 6 months to 6 years, 6 years to 11 years, and 11 years to over.
Mhm.
That's how segmented is our age
Your age clusters. Yeah,
in
your
cats.
clusters. Yeah, exactly.
No other brand in Brazil has four different age ranges for cats.
And your cat product is a kibble product you're talking about, right?
Yes, kibble product.
So how does that, I'm going to ask that question. How does that compare in terms of palatability and acceptance with a Royal Canin, who are supposedly the best accepted kibble in the market?
Not in the Brazilian market. In the Brazilian market, we just our super premium. We are like 4 to 5 times Royal Canine size.
Amazing. Amazing.
Just super premium.
Yes. That's amazing. So, what do you think about the cat trend we are seeing in the US at the moment?
I think it's global. We're seeing cat trend in Brazil. It's more acceptability. You have cultures that are more open. I think with technology, kind of like kittens are kind of something very seen in socials, and then younger generations are a bit more open. They are also, I think, less into the older habits of kind of society. You see, now they're saying like they didn't arrive to Brazil yet, but in Europe, like the younger generations go and have matcha and Friday and
Yes.
Saturday night. They don't go to bars and they don't go to clubs.
Yeah.
They're becoming, I think, the boys are becoming more girlies. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
yeah, it's changing. You're absolutely right. Alcohol consume goes down drastically in a lot of countries too. So, yeah, when I look at the cat market in the US, it's interesting because the US has traditionally always been a dog market, very dog. Plurality was on dog, whereas Western European countries like the UK, Italy, and Germany have traditionally always been cat markets. So we see pretty steady cat populations and relations between dog and cat in those European countries, whereas in the US we see a very big increase of cat. Currently,
that's true for the also interesting the cat population, they are, I think, less driven by like the quality of the ingredient. They're a bit more futile. They are much more FDM oriented, and
yeah,
uh, that's why you see like Friskies and
and
all these
whiskers, yeah.
Whiskas are very big players in grocery, because the consumer as well is very big in grocery.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's all about what the cat eats, right? The cat is an animal. It's not comparable to a dog. We always used to say, a cat is not a small dog, which is true. Very
Yeah.
true. It needs to eat the food. This is why I asked about the acceptance. Okay, cool. So we see a lot of humanization still of the pet. What do you think? Is that a trend? Is that a good trend? Is that a bad trend in your book? What do you think about that?
I think that it's a trend. It won't stop being a trend. It's one of the strongest trends, I would say.
Yeah.
Um, it is the strongest trend. I think sustainability with the geopolitical situation at the moment died down a bit. It was one of the biggest ones. Now it's mainly the second one. I just feel that if the whole dog population ate the food of the human population, then you are just creating the double the amount of the excess waste. So at one point, like ethical marketing should be what is best for the world, and not like not go against kind of if you're saying about byproducts
Yes.
we have in all our cables. We think it's a great product. It's not a product that humans eat. It's you wouldn't see visceras in a restaurant. You wouldn't
Yes.
go and ask, I want some rice and visceras. But for the cat, it's the first thing the lion eats when it's
But it kills
feeding.
the prey, of course. Of
First
course.
thing that the bear eats from the
Yes.
salmon, it throws away
Yes.
the muscle.
Yes.
It eats only the visceras.
Yes.
So I think that marketing should be ethical in the sense that like you don't need to over humanize. Like I think that we the trends, they go over and then they start going back. We see some brands bringing it back, like Primal, with like showing the what part of the and carnivore companies. Some of them are bringing it back,
Yes.
but then you see kind of Wolfgang Bakery with having a birthday cake for the pet as like a whole dress wardrobe for the pet. So you see a bit of both worlds
Yes.
in my, and I think it's too as well to have uh, this imagination, right? The pet owner has this imagination. In one side, it wants the wolf, and the other side, it wants the doll.
Yeah,
And
or the kid or the baby or whatever. Absolutely.
exactly the baby,
Yeah,
the
totally.
exactly. So I think that's the how marketing has really went
Evolved.
gone.
Mm.
Yeah, you're saying, oh no, it needs to eat just raw visceras and beef heart, and then in the next day you're giving it a massive cupcake this size with a candle on top.
Absolutely, absolutely, yeah, very different. Absolutely. Now, if you're looking at AI in your company, are you already using AI in your company? Did you integrate it in workflows, or I mean, you were talking about the PIM system with the veterinarian, and within your company and your operations, do you already apply AI?
We have trained a lot of the people to use AI.
Uh-huh.
In my team, I stimulate the people always to do using AI, but not to kind of um, outsource smartness to AI.
Not
Is
to
to use AI as a tool to enhance. Like my
yes.
operations team, I always ask them to write emails and then throw it in the AI. Write the email before sending the email. Put in the AI,
Yeah,
then see if it reads well, and then but not don't ask the AI to write your email. Have you write the email and then proof check it in the AI. Like that's the
exactly,
difference.
exactly. That is a
Have
big.
a brain.
And as you said before, if you don't know what you want to say, AI is not going to help you say it. So you have to
Exactly
be
the
right.
prompt.
Yeah, totally, totally. Oh, I like that. Yeah, that's very true. Now, if is there like from your board, or is there like a push for AI to use more AI to save cost, for example, or is that something where you say that's not yet on the table?
No, I think that productivity is going up. We see that in years that you have 15% interest rate, you
Yes,
need to get creative. You don't want to add more headcount, you want to have more productivity. It's we always want more reliability. We're using AI as well in our machinery to get to compile more data, to do more quality products, so less variability. We know that variability is something bad for product, because
product. Yeah,
the pet is eating all different batches of your same kibble. So we are now investing a lot in AI and in decreasing variability in all our processes,
yeah,
and
fantastic.
that's another front that we have been really investing in, kind of the industrial side of AI.
And that is really interesting. And what are your experiences? Are people open to do it? Is it very difficult to integrate it into workflows, or do you see any hurdles?
I I don't know, like I don't have agency of what in 10 times how many times they use AI, but I think that it's become very common. Like I think that the generative AI tools, that like it's in my dock on my iPhone, is one of my four icons that doesn't leave when I scroll side. It's already there. I have at least three AI tools that I vary upon. We did training. We did a lot of training with specific companies
Hmm.
to train our staff on it.
Nice.
So we have a an innovation kind of retreat that is in Sao Paulo, but they go 3 days to the same place and they do we say oxygenate, like new ideas, get out of just the eye level, go to a top level of critical thinking. And in last year, the main focus, each they do projects, and the two best projects of the year gets implemented in the company. And
Amazing.
last year, the framework for the projects was AI driven.
Mm,
So they are in like 10 groups, the
yes,
groups of six, eight, and they had to use AI for the 3 days. So I feel that we taught them, they saw how good it was, an AI tool trained for us. So we didn't put all our data into the web. It was a closed AI tool. So we
good.
closed it off the web, and they used the tool, saw the benefits of the tool, and applied it. So we feel that there wasn't a gap. They were trained on the AI, and we did this the year prior as well. We
Mm-hmm.
used different like training companies. So
Yes.
we're already like 3 years in training like yearly our
Amazing.
staff in AI.
Very progressive. That's cool. Is there something you would say you would really not automate? What's the part where you say, this is really something we don't want to have AI touch? That's a good question, right? I like that question because it's something to really think about.
Yeah, I don't know if we have something that what I think is we should not allow AI to have the critical thinking. It should be the tool to enable our critical thinking. If you outsource AI to think, then you're going to be the same as the market because the other players are already doing this. Like the smaller players, they're already like, write me a marketing campaign. Okay, position your
Yeah,
in
true.
health and sustainability, and then everyone is the same. So you see a lot of players just like non-differentiating, and then when you see someone that uses actually an AI to enhance what they're thinking, then you see like
There's the
the
difference.
cleverness.
Yeah.
I feel AI is not clever. It is a data bank, but it doesn't understand, like it doesn't at current stages. It doesn't manage to play on kind of rationale and cognitive, like how you say like, whoa, this was very intelligent. Like, whoa, I wasn't expecting
So
that.
true.
That's still, I think, a human kind of
Yes.
skill set.
Yeah, totally with you. Totally with you. So, I mean, as we think that AI is making some things cheaper, I'm not so sure about that yet. But is there something you think which will become more expensive
Will
in
become
the next
more
few years?
expensive
Hmm.
because of AI.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think data is on the rise.
Hmm.
Cost of data, like these
Yeah,
AI companies are collecting data, but at one point, if you want their data, you're gonna have to pay them a lot.
it's true. Absolutely. Absolutely.
At
Yeah.
one point, they're not gonna. Soon they're gonna say, okay, you want I have the best data bank that you have access. Now it's $5,000 a year.
Hmm.
Then what you're gonna say? No, I'm not gonna use you. And then you say, okay, are you gonna leave opportunities in the table? I
On the
think
table.
data is.
Not doing that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
True. Okay, got you. So, Fernando, we're coming to the end of this session. But first of all, thank you for your time. This is super
Thanks,
interesting.
Peggy.
What is your what's your vision for your future? If you would say, especially looking at the American market where you are entering at the moment, um, is there something where you say this is like the next big thing we want to look into? Would it be cat? Would it be wet food? What is it?
I think it's providing like good nutrition. I think that customers were seeing like there's the gap is opening. Like we're saying like what is things getting more expensive? Then you see oil at 100 now.
Yes.
Oil could get 200. So like the uncertainties on the market are ever growing.
Hmm.
And I think that there is like providing good nutrition is what we do. We don't want to at the moment go outside of our scope of business. We want
Yes.
to provide good food at a good price. And I think if you do that, if you have a good story, if you have good food and you have a good price, and I don't need the US market to survive. My core market is Brazil. My US market is I learn from the US market and bring to Brazil. So my goal, I'm reaching break even point. I think in the next 12, 18 months, I'm at break
Well,
even
yes.
with, my Natu line. Then I have my other line that I'm going to launch, which is more affordable. This is just using the metrics of my Natu, not considering. And then I already have the channel. I already have Amazon. I already have Chewy. I already have the distributors. The distributors are getting more confidence on myself. They're starting to place more of our products. They're starting to understand who we are. So it takes confidence, takes time. You cannot AI confidence. Like consumer confidence. You just need to be there recurring and builds over time and goes very quickly. So I
Absolutely.
think that's why you cannot dethrone pedigree that easily, because it's been for 20 years. Like you can say, it's crap. Oh no,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
ingredients are shit,
yeah.
are bad. But people have fed their pets only pedigree for 10 years in the
Years.
pet
And
food.
the pet
So
is
they're
still
not
alive.
safe.
Absolutely. Yes,
Now
absolutely.
they haven't fed raw for more than 3 years. And a lot of pets get salmonella and raw. So like the pets have been living more with kibbles. This is unquestionable. They have
Reality.
increased the
Yeah.
spams with kibble. If kibble is not the food that will manage the cat to live 30 years, 40 years that we have never seen, and maybe another food is, we are yet to find out if some cat fed only
Ah, nice.
fresh food.
Yeah.
But like, is it affordable? Is it accessible? Is it the logistics? Is it there? What have like the US has the best logistics system. In Brazil we cannot cold transit overnight
Yeah. Yeah.
from a
Yeah. Yeah.
facility in Sao Paulo to
Yeah.
Rio. It takes 2 days. Like the food will arrive
Will
rotten.
spoil. Yeah. Will spoil. Exactly. So that's true. Last question. Do you have any words of wisdom, Fernando, for the people who are going to watch that interview in connection to AI or in connection to anything we talked about here?
Yeah, I think by what I came and circled back constantly is kind of not outsource your intelligence to AI, and actually use AI to help create the clear the structure of your thoughts, because I think that AI is not in a place where it will make for example, you can put make give me 10 pet food brand names. It will give you, but
Sure.
it will give you the same plain vanilla and okay, nature peak, nurture
Yes.
valley. It will just do that. It won't give you any kind of insights that will not be in the open. It will only give you what is already known fact. Maybe you
Yes.
don't know it, but it won't give you something that is unknown,
Yes.
because then AI doesn't have this. It's trained on historicals.
True.
And then if you want to really have a like an one up, you need to do proprietary research. You can use AI, but you
Yes.
need to do your own research. You need to do focus groups, like we do focus groups. We do everything. Our focus groups are not in AI. We don't put what we are looking at, or when we're talking to our
Yes.
vet, when we're
Yes.
talking to our
Yeah, totally. Because what you're pointing at is basically, and that's kind of always my subject, right? My key subject is, and that's what I see also in the world of transactions, M&A transactions, is that actually it's the customer journey today and the ecosystem a company or a brand builds that actually creates enterprise value. It's not the
yes.
product anymore. And that's exactly what you're pointing to. It's the customer and the customer needs and how we're fulfilling those customer needs. So basically what that means, it's not the brand or the product first, it's the customer first. And then adapting your brand or your product, or at least your customer journey, to that customer need.
I completely agree. I have some insights. I'm gonna keep it to myself. That an M&A deal we did here, and it's gonna be very good. We went into the cat litter business. We are growing very good, but that I had some great insights that
That's not for the recording, right? So, Fernando, let me stop the recording here and we can have a bit of a chat, just 2 minutes to wrap this up. And I thank you so, so much. It was such a pleasure to have you. And I'll see you in a few weeks.
see you in a few weeks. And yeah, I think that the customer is the king. You cannot you can have the logistics, you can have everything, but you cannot just say like, okay, now this is now Premiere, this is now Golden, buy. You can,
Yes.
and even with new products, like there is a mismatch and understanding the product. Like we just launched a recovery,
Mhm.
which is a cheaper Royal Canine recovery, the Hills AD,
Yeah.
the hospital one, and it's starting to sell a lot, but it's like not we think it's going to be a top seller. but the time to maturity takes time. It's not something
Yes.
that, okay, boom,